Hey everyone, Sparks back with another Goddess Victory Nikke video, and it's time to take a look at Velvet. This is one of the most anticipated units the community has been hyped about for a long time. There are some interesting things, actually a lot of interesting things to say about her. Wind keeps getting juiced, okay? Velvet is really good. I've seen a lot of people on the internet, including people in my own community Discord, link to the description below, by the way, if you want to join my Discord. A lot of people saying that she's mid. And I just don't see it. Now, her kit does have a lot going on, so maybe people just don't understand it, and that's why. Or maybe I'm interpreting it wrong. So you tell me, leave a comment below after the end of the video. So one thing I do have to say about her is her physics are really realistic. Okay, my streams are literally called physics class. I had to comment on it. Granted, you're not going to find a lot of girls out there, but if this was a real girl with this build, she would move like that, which is impressive. A lot of times we get kind of like fake looking physics. So yeah, also she is going to get the bunny version, which we will talk about at the end of the video. But let's actually get into her skills. We're going to read through the kit, and then I'm going to kind of take a step back and talk about why I think she's good and just kind of different scenarios for her, I guess. What team she'll be on, that type of thing. So she is a supporter, burst 2 with a sniper, code wind, and she has a standard ammo capacity of 6, reload time of 2 seconds, and charge time of 1 second. Skill 1 is called Sticky Fingers, and it says activates at the start of battle or when entering burst stage 2. It's called Bullet Snatch, and it says function steals enemies' bullets and keeps them in her ammo pack. Kind of a really weird, unique mechanic here. It says effect 1 affects all enemies, removes 5% of bullets. I don't think that does anything, but fine, removes 5% of bullets. And then effect 2 affects self, fills the ammo pouch with 6,000 rounds up to a maximum of 6,000. This effect continues and cannot be dispelled. Okay, so at the beginning of the battle or anytime you enter burst stage 2, whether she's bursting or not, she is going to take 5% of the enemy's ammo, which again, I don't think that effect does anything. People have talked about using this in PvP. I don't think the 5% is going to make a difference no matter what, but maybe, I don't know. But at any rate, the important thing is she's going to get 6,000 rounds in her ammo pouch. Now, this is not 6,000 rounds going in her normal clip. This is like a, secondary stash of ammo that's just like used to track for her buff, okay? And she's going to replenish this at the start of any burst stage or any burst stage 2 and at the start of the battle, and you just can't get rid of this, okay? And she's just going to keep replenishing. Then effect 2 says activates when attacking with full charge while not in full burst, okay? So when you're not in full burst, she's going to buff herself. So effect self, strengthen self by expending ammo from ammo pouch. Effect 1, expends ammo from the ammo pouch, amount 100 rounds. And then effect 2, attack goes up by 30% for 3 seconds. And then attack damage goes up 30% for 3 seconds. Okay, so if you are not in full burst, so activates attacking full charge while not in full burst, she is going to take 100 rounds every full charge shot out of that 6,000 ammo stash. And then she is going to in turn get a 3-second long attack buff for 30% and attack damage up 30% for 3 seconds. So this should be able to stack 3 times, okay? Particularly if you give her like a little bit of charge speed just to be safe, because the charge takes 1 second. So you could get up to a 90% attack buff in that last shot, and then you could get attack damage up also 90%. That's kind of crazy. That is a really big buff to herself. Now, granted, she is a burst 2 support. She's not necessarily going to be your main DPS, but that could deal significant damage. But you are taking ammo out of that, ammo stack for your buffs. Well, let's take a look at the next slide. All right, so skill 2, Bullets of Love, activates when attacking with full charge during full burst, okay? So this last skill was when you were attacking with full charge when not in full burst. So now skill 2 is when you are attacking with full charge during full burst. And then it says function strengthens allies by expending ammo from the ammo pack. So again, same kind of mechanic here. Effect 1. Effect self expends ammo from the ammo pack, this time taking 300 rounds instead of just the 100. Affects all allies. Attack goes up 25% of caster's attack for 3 seconds. And affects all allies. Charge damage up 100% for 3 seconds. So instead of buffing herself, she's now going to buff allies. So all allies could now get up to a 75% attack buff. And instead of getting attack damage buff for herself, they're going to get a charge damage buff of 100%, which will last for 3 seconds. So will also stack, unless for some reason it doesn't stack, but it should. This is kind of a crazy buff. This might actually be the best part of her kit. We will come back to that. So the next part says activates after landing 50 normal attacks during full burst. All right, so you might be wondering how in the world are you going to do 50 attacks? She's a sniper rifle. That's because down here in her burst, she changes weapon. And as we could see in the animation previously, when she's in full burst, she gets an MG. So she's going to fire extremely rapidly, assuming it's like 60 rounds per second, which would be normal for an MG, but we don't know exactly what the fire rate is. So anyway, after landing 50 normal attacks during full burst, so if you're bursting with her, this will go off. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get this off because she's going to stick with the sniper rifle. So if you burst with her during full burst, after landing 50 attacks, she will expend 300 rounds. Okay, so every 50 attacks, she's going to take 300 rounds out of the ammo stash. And then effects self, attack damage goes up 15% for 5 seconds. So that is going to ramp up like crazy. And then affects the target, deals 400% of final attack as additional damage. So she is like an all-out DPS in this scenario. Probably going to ramp up damage quite quickly. And then her burst, thank God, 20-second cooldown. This is what we love to see. This is going to make her useful in multiple scenarios, although we might have her as off burst a lot of times, which again, we'll come back to that. So her burst says affects self, changes the weapon in use. So we get that MG weapon we just saw a second ago. And then damage is 7% of final attack. Pretty strong MG. Lasts 10 seconds, so your whole full burst there. And additional effect, attack damage up 30%, 34% for 10 seconds. So again, all out DPS here. I think she could function as a very strong secondary DPS as your burst 2. As powerful as like Nayuta, which inevitably she'll be compared to because she's also a very, very strong wind burst 2. Probably not, but I think she will do a lot of damage. But let's kind of talk about, there's a lot going on here, and like when she's in burst, when she's not in burst, she's taking ammo, etc. So assuming you burst like every 15 seconds or you do 12 burst cycles, let's say, in a fight, I'm using kind of round numbers here just to make the math easy. You should never run out of ammo in your ammo pouch. So you're always going to be access those appropriate bursts, those appropriate buffs from the ammo stash if she is off burst, because you're never going to use more than like 3,600-ish ammo before she will restock. If you are bursting with her, you will likely run out of your ammo stash at the end of full burst, which means then you would not be able to access these skill 1 buffs. So when attacking with full charge while not in full burst effect self, she's trying to take the ammo from the ammo pack, but you probably used up all the ammo pack after your full burst, and then you won't refill it again until you full burst again. So interestingly enough, there's a little bit of push-pull there with this being helpful for being an all-out DPS, but you could have downtime on actually being able to use this. Again, this depends on how rapidly her full burst weapon actually fires. But assuming it's like a normal MG, it looks like it will deplete her ammo supply. So that is something to consider. Also, you'd have to be firing the entire time during full burst. So it's hard to say. It could vary from situation to situation. Now, going back to this real thing, will removing 5% of bullets matter? I'm assuming in PvE, like that literally makes no difference. In PvP, I don't know, I don't see that being impactful, but I'm not really a PvP guy anymore. So you tell me if like removing people's ammo will actually work. It's only 5%, so I don't know. I think, again, the real strength of her comes from actually being an off burst, keeping her in the support role, and doing this skill too a lot, okay? So that means basically the whole time you're going to be giving all allies attack plus 25% for 3 seconds, which again is going to stack because it only takes 1 second to charge. And then also giving all allies charge damage 100% for 3 seconds. This feels pretty busted in the right team. I think it's hard to interpret things exactly without doing testing, which we will be doing, but I would most likely use her off burst. I think she's probably really strong in general, but maybe not as strong as Nayuta if you like compare them on, but putting them together is probably super good. I think she's going to work very well with all the big win DPS units, mainly Black Shadow Scarlet. And she's probably going to be a staple in win rates, okay? I'm saying it. I think she's probably going to be a staple in win rates. Now, where would we actually use her? I think most likely, again, you're not going to burst with her, and then you put her on a Black Shadow Scarlet team with Nayuta, and then Black Shadow Scarlet and Nayuta are both going to get this like constant attack damage and huge, constant attack buff and this huge charge damage buff, which will likely give them insane damage. Again, sometimes, you know, mathing without actually seeing it in the real world, things turn out to be a little bit different, but I think that's where you're going to use her. So she's off burst supporting Nayuta and SBS, and then, you know, probably Liberalio as well is going to be on that team. Although you're kind of putting all your wind eggs in one basket at that point. So, you know, solar raids are weird. You can split up teams to do like interesting stuff, but I think that could be a very OP team. Now, if you're not combining them with that, then I think you probably are bursting with her if you have her on a different team, and then you have a second off burst, like, you know, probably Maid Mast, and then maybe she goes with, you know, your other win DPS like Asuka, you know, or Asuka and Ray or whatever, that kind of thing. So I think off burst support with SBS and Utah, or on burst secondary DPS with someone like Asuka, or whatever you're using for your main DPSs there. Now, we are getting new treasures, 4 new treasures. We talked about that in the last video during the dev notes. It's possible that, like, you know, something happens with like Privity, or, you know, what do we else are we getting? Zwei, Senti, and Moran, and then that like switches up the teams in general, but I doubt it. More than likely, treasures will just help with other teams, but I doubt that's really going to affect what team Velvet goes on. Who knows? I could be wrong. Unless the treasures like radically change what those other units' skills are, but just something to think about. Quick note, she's probably bad with Snow White Heavy Arms, because again, charge damage 100%. I mean, that's still a lot, but it's still going to be like not that much compared to the insane amount of charge damage that Snow White already has in her kit. You maybe even could use her with OG Snow White for some teams. That I could actually see. That would be kind of interesting to try. But she probably has better teams if you really want to do that. There might be other people doing more useful things in that case. So yeah, I think she's good. I'm going to be pulling for her. I might even go for max limit break. Also, she is getting the bunny skin, okay? And I think that her original design, like, the community was so hyped for her. Fortunately, the update notes in-game said that we will be getting this skin as the new monthly pass or season pass or whatever it's called. So that's definitely good to see that we're not gonna have to wait for forever or just like never get the bunny skin. I wish this was just her default design. I know a lot of people do like the maid design, but I feel like even more people like the bunny design. At least we'll have the option. The passes are generally good value, so if you're a spender, it's not that bad. However, this could be kind of sad for like free-to-play players, because then they just can't get like the super spicy bunny skin. But yeah, I just want to point that out there. Not all hope is lost. We will have the bunny skin along with Velvet. Anyway, let me know what you think of her. Let me know if you agree with my assessment of Velvet or not. Do you prefer the maid version or the bunny version? And I will be polling for her, of course, doing a full poll video as well as testing videos with her. And like I said, possibly going for Maximum Break because I'm a big fan of her. And yeah, I think she's going to be strong. So worth it in more ways than one. I'll be streaming later tonight as well. And I will catch you guys on stream for some Nikke, some Dragon Traveler, and some Silver and Blood. All right, peace.